A few days ago, I made a video where I urged people to give Dota Dragon's Blood a chance because the new season is coming. I watched the new season, and let's face it, it was a bit of a letdown. Please believe me, I am the most hurt here. I adored the first book. I wanted this to be a magical, amazing follow-up, but it wasn't at all. And I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. But first, you might be wondering if I thought it was all bad, and the answer is not at all. The ambition and passion in the project is clear, especially if you look at showrunner Ashley Miller's Twitter and Reddit AMA. The writing is actually great for the most part. The plots come together at the end in perfect harmony. And Mirana is an absolute joy to watch, for which Lara Pulver is at least 86% responsible. But as much as she wants me to elaborate, I'll comment on this no further. So there, positives.
Oh yes, that's very good, I like that.
Now, before I go into the criticism and while spirits are high, if you like discussions on writing and story structure like this one on Arcane's themes and sub-themes, please consider subscribing to Glass Value and hitting the bell icon. Thank you so much. Also, if you have any thoughts on the season, please let me know in the comments. I would love to read your opinions. Okay, let's get on with this. What was wrong about the season? From less severe to the worst. Reminder, full spoilers, because we're starting with a character death. Number 5, Marci. All I wanted was Marci to get a good backstory, some funny moments, and some nice punches. And then you just exclude her from half the season and kill her? Why you gotta do her dirty like that? Well anyways, ruined the whole show, I hate it, thank you. Number 4, Dragonhold. Boring. Characters we have no connection with, don't care about, with long drawn out fight scenes, weird animations, missing sound effects, and just kicking the door in with 1,000 dragons. Bram was never an interesting character at this point, only later, so I don't know why we would care about his knightship. The hierarchy struggle between Caden and you don't remember his name either, don't judge me, was also useless and didn't lead anywhere. He just gave Bram a sword that he could literally have gotten from anyone else and is only relevant for one episode. Not a fan. Number 3, production value. I'll make this a short point because it goes into a longer rant at number 1. The show is just generally still on too low a budget, too few episodes, too short episodes, and rushed animation. I really respect Studio Mir, but the quality of some of the effects and animations are just not there. They did way better work on Korra, Witcher, or hell, even Season 1 of Dragon's Blood. This project was obviously rushed to be released in less than a year with not enough money, and it shows. Number 2, the Invoker. I think it's actually really sad that you sit on a gold mine of a character like this and you don't really involve him in your story. Show me one person who wasn't thrilled about scenes of Terrorblade and the Invoker, or Salamene and the Invoker, or any scene with Invoker really. I know they wanted to tell another story this time, but come on. If you have something that works, just work with it, include him somehow. I thought Season 1 was building him up, but apparently he's still being built up. I also think there was too little Terrorblade, to be honest. But hey, honestly, all of the problems I just mentioned come back to one thing. The scope. Okay, look, I've read the opinions, and everyone is saying pace because they felt it was rushed. But I'd argue that pacing is just a symptom, and it's not the problem itself. Look, something can be paced very well with stuff happening all the time. Conversations can move the plot forward without feeling like a breakneck speed roller coaster ride. On the flip side, something can still be paced horribly while alternating calm moments and action if nothing of consequence happens. No, the problem is scope here. When you write a screenplay, you have to know the limits in which you have to structure the theme and write the story. On the one hand, a 5-page short story won't fit subplots and multiple POVs. If you have them, your scope is probably way too big. If you have a contract for 5 seasons of a show, on the other hand, telling the story of how Mike went to the store to get milk is probably a bit too narrow of a scope. I know scope and pace are two sides of the same coin really, but writing comes way sooner in the process, and a plotline can give birth to several characters, which can give birth to several scenes, and the fractal continues. It's the scope you have to be careful with, and oh boy, Dragon's Blood has way too big of a fucking scope. Some beloved characters barely got any screen time while we introduced like 7 more main characters and new locations every episode with like a bunch of history and family relations and names, and it's just too much. For comparison, Arcane's scope was way smaller. Here it is in 4 sentences. 2 parts of a city, Piltover and Zaun, are in opposition. Heroes on both sides try to achieve security and freedom for their people. Caught in the conflict is a little girl called Powder, who loses everything and then has nothing to lose until her long-lost sister shows up. In Piltover, 2 scientists struggle with the idea of progress and the political current that changes the fate of the city. I literally couldn't do Dragon's Blood in 4 sentences. And here's the respective runtimes. So what's my conclusion? This show needs longer episodes, more time to produce it, and more money to be good. I also feel like they wrote themselves into a corner because there was some obvious hinting at multiverses with Arkwarden showing up and Marci dying, so that increases the scope even more. I'm not hopeful. Overall, honestly, Dota Dragon's Blood Season 2 just feels like a giant waste of the talent Studio Mir, the actors, and Ashley Miller has. And even though I think Netflix is the one not providing the budget and thus doing the wasting, it ultimately comes down to the showrunner to find a better scope or the humble resources that are available. But I guess that ship has sailed, book 3 or not. And that is my take on it. For us Dota people, this show is still super interesting, but I just wouldn't recommend it to anyone else, honestly. Dragon's Blood is obviously made by passionate people who care about Dota, and it shows. A lot of these things are not their fault, and I admire and respect the people who worked really hard on this. And I still want more. I just wish Netflix dumped millions on them and let them work for a few years. We are not in a rush after all. We've been playing this stupid game for a decade. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing. And thank you to my top patrons and Berkey for being in the behind the scenes tier. Thank you guys.